Hello, this is my first tutorial of After Effects class. Every week I will upload new video to help you understanding the basic of After Effects. Basically, After Effects is software that you use to compose all material like photo, graphic design, audio and video and other stuff into a new motion sequences. So if you want to make a motion graphic or visual effect or maybe a simple slideshow or motion photo, you can use After Effects to do that. Here is some of my project that use After Effects to finish. As you can see, one of my music video project for Teman Ahok. In this video, you can see it is kind of an animation or motion graphic. So you can compose all the design that you made and video and maybe some graphic design into one new motion sequences. Or one of my other project. This is one of my project with titling to make a video tutorial about their payment channel. In this video you can see that I use video and graphic design and it comes together into one motion sequences. Or maybe you want to make a design that interact with the footage like this. You can see here there is a design that interact with the footage, and you can also use After Effects to do this kind of things. So without further ado, let's start opening your After Effects software. Okay, and this is what After Effects look like. There are different parts of After Effects that you need to know first before you start the project. For the first, this is the area that you call project bin. This is where you put all of your source material like photo, audio, video, and other graphic design that you made in other software, maybe like in Photoshop or Illustrator. You just drag and drop your file here and it will pop up. For example, you just can drag a video and it will pop up, and any other video or maybe some photo or design that you made. And maybe some audio like music or maybe some voice over recording. Okay, and you can see all the file that you drag and drop are show up here on the project bin. This is the video, this is the audio, and this is some of PNG file or maybe JPEG file. And you can also make a folder to arrange all these files by clicking here. So you make a folder and you can rename it as you want. As you can see, I make a 3 folder with the different name, video, picture, and audio to make it perfectly arranged. So I put all the video files into the folder of video and PNG file into the picture, video, and audio file into audio folder. Okay, so it is makes you more easier to do the project later, because when you not arrange the video perfectly, if you not arrange the source material perfectly, you will find a trouble when you start a project. So after you know about the project bin and how to manage your source material, the next thing you need to know is composition, the area right here called composition. This is where all of your layers or all of your animation project will going on. But as you can see, this part right here is blank. There's nothing here. It is because that you not already make one. So before you start all of your project in After Effects, you need to make a composition by clicking this icon. You can just click this icon right here and the composition setting box will show up. And you need to name your composition. For this case, I will name it test number 1. And you need to choose the preset of your composition. It's like choosing the size of your screen. So I always use HDTV 1080 and 25 frames per second for a standard. And don't forget to set the duration. For this case, I only set 15-second long duration and click OK. So this is your composition that called test number 1. The icon of your composition will show up here in your project bin. And to start your project, you need to add the files into your composition by searching the source material from your project bin and drag here into your composition. As you can see, now you have a composition that fill with the files or layers. You can hide the layers by clicking this eye icon or unhide it by clicking this eye icon again. So this is how you make a composition, by clicking this icon right here and set the setting. Or there are other ways to make a composition by adding a Photoshop document or Adobe Illustrator document into your project bin. So, for example, I have a Photoshop document for GoPay, and it's right here. The name of the project called 1. So I just drag this file into my project bin here, and the box setting will show up. So set the composition written layer size and choose editable layer styles and click OK. And that Photoshop document will import it into the project bin as a composition. Okay, as you can see, this is the icon of the former Photoshop document that changed into composition in After Effects. So you just click here and you have the same layer arrangement in your composition, exactly the same with the layer arrangement that you made on your Photoshop document. Okay, so that is how you make a composition, by clicking this icon and set the setting, or import it, the design document like Photoshop document or Illustrator document, into your After Effects like this. For Illustrator, there is slight different. After you import the files, you need to choose composition and click OK. So it goes the same. If you click here, I have a composition with the same exact layer arrangement like what I did on the Illustrator. Okay, this is what you call composition. And the next thing that you need to know after you know to make a composition is the timeline. here's the area right here called a timeline. Timeline is the area where all of your animation will take places. You can zoom in your timeline by pressing plus into your keyboard, so it will zoom from seconds into frames. And if you want to zoom out your timeline, you can press minus on your keyboard, so it will zoom out from frames into seconds. Okay, and you can also drag your cursor on your timeline to go wherever you want in specific time. Okay, and also you can change the duration of your timeline by pressing Command K on your keyboard. So you can change the composition name, or also you can change the duration of your timeline by just typing the duration that you want. Maybe I just make it shorter for 10 seconds. So the length of your timeline will change into just 10 seconds. Now I just want to set back my composition duration, okay, back into 15 seconds. Okay, and the next thing that you need to know that every layer have its own timeline bar. This is the timeline bar. So if you want to make it shorter or you want to make it longer, just click on the edge of the timeline bar and drag it. If you want to make it longer, just drag it. Or if you want to make it shorter, just drag it. Okay? It same goes to every layer on your composition. Okay, just click on the edge and drag it. Okay? Okay, just leave it right here. And if you want to cut in the certain second of your timeline bar, just press Command Shift D on your keyboard. Command Shift D. Okay. And as you see, the layer will split into two, and you just delete the one that you not wanted. So now you just cut the timeline bar of your layer. Okay, maybe I can repeat it again. If you want to cut the timeline bar in the certain second, just drag your cursor into that certain second and press Command Shift D on your keyboard. Okay, Command Shift D. And as you can see, the layers will split into two, and you just delete the one that you doesn't want it. Now, okay, and now you have your timeline bar cut. So after you know about the timeline on After Effects, the next thing that you need to know is the layer properties. Every layer on your composition has the properties that you can animate. The very basic properties of each layer are position, rotation, and the opacity. To make it the properties show up on your layer, just type P for the position on your keyboard, or type R for rotation, and type T for the opacity. And if you want to show it together, first you need to show up the position by typing P on your keyboard, and then continue, hold Shift, and then type the other letter, R for rotation and T for the opacity. And what's the function of these layer properties? Basically, the layer properties give you an ability to move or rotate or set the transparency of the layers. For example, by changing the position value of this GoP layer, you can move your object. Or you can move freely by clicking it and move it around. And also, you can rotate the object by changing the value of the rotation properties by clicking on the numbers and drag it. As you can see, the value of the numbers in the rotation properties are changing. So you can rotate the layers like this. And the third one is the opacity properties. By clicking on the number, hold it and drag it left or right, you will see that the transparency of the layer are changing, and also the number on the opacity properties. Okay, that's the basic function of the layer properties. You can start animate your object or the layers by changing the value of each properties. So after you know about this layer properties, you can start animate it by clicking the stopwatch icon to make a keyframes. A keyframes with the representative of diamond icon right here marks the in point and out point of your animation. For example, you want to move this copy light layer from left to right. So what you need to do is click on this layer and start adding a keyframe by click the stopwatch icon right here. And then you move 2 seconds forward, and then you move this layer slightly right. After you move the layer, the second keyframe will automatically show up. It means that you just have an in point and out point of your animation. So if you go to the first second of your timeline and then press spacebar on your keyboard, you will see that the layers go from left to the right. It means that you just make an animation. And it also goes the same with the rotation properties. If you want to make this copy layer rotate, so the first thing you need to do is click the stopwatch icon right here and then move into whenever you want, and then change the value of the rotation properties. Okay, so if you start from the very beginning of your timeline and then you press spacebar on your keyboard, you will see that the copy layers are rotating. Okay, so this is the basic understanding of animation by adding a keyframes. And you can experiment any kind of movement by adding a different value on your keyframes. For example, this copy layer, I will make this layer rotate in some kind of way. So first thing, I just need to activate the keyframes and move a few seconds or few frames and then change the value of it, and then I move forward again and then I change the value again, and you see that the copy layers rotate in some kind of way. And you can always copy paste your keyframes by pressing Command C and then paste it by pressing Command V on your keyboard, and do it again and do it again. So now you have a loop of rotation on your layers. Okay, and maybe you can add some animation on the movement, so you add a keyframe on the position properties and then change the position wherever you want, and maybe you can copy the keyframes and see the difference. Okay, so these layers like goes crazy. Okay, that's the first understanding of animation by adding keyframes, and it's also the end of my first tutorial about the basic After Effects class. I hope with my first explanation you can go for experimental for yourself and adding a keyframes and make another design and animate it on After Effects by just using the basic layer properties with changing position, rotation, and the opacity of the layers. Okay, so Thank you for your attention and see you next time.